I'm not sure how awkward that looked. May have not to overflowing, but I think I topped up my hot chocolate a little more than was advisable. So, hey, folks, hope everybody's doing well. It's the back half of January already. I don't understand. Hey, 255. Hey, Ms. Wicked Wolf, Coyote Azul, Scuzzbopper. I'll mention it now so I don't run the risk of forgetting it later. I will be at Gallifrey 1 on the weekend of February 6th in Los Angeles at the LAX Marriott for that Doctor Who convention. And not only will I be there, I will be moderating a panel on Saturday about diversity on the show. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I like Gallifrey 1. I haven't been since 2024 because it's usually been an every 2 years thing for me. My dog just turned 8. Where does the time go? Yeah. Yeah, I keep thinking of Archie as a puppy, but he's 4 or 5? I don't even know. He might be 5 now. I don't know. Yeah. Time keeps doing that thing that it does. Anyways. Yes, Coyote Doggies. Reminder that while I will try and keep up with the chat, I make no promises. The one thing that will guarantee that I respond to your comment and or question is to do it as a super chat, which will not only get you a thanks from me, you'll also get the little gay heart of appreciation. It appreciates money. Is it boozy hot chocolate? Not as yet, Danny. Not as yet. It's a little... Hold on. Let me see if I can... It is currently too full for booziness to be added. And it's also currently too hot to drink, so I can't sip that down from what it currently is. We'll get there. We'll get there, but I gotta give that a few minutes. In dog years, Archie is only just behind you. Archie, he's a little baby. It's midnight here in the UK, struggling to get some sleep and saw this. Thought I listened to this while doing some TTRPG prep. How is everyone else doing? I hope you have a good TTRPG session once you prep for it. Oh, that's another reminder. I'm not sure how many of the folks on here follow Quill and Sword, the TTRPG campaigns that I do over on Twitch on Partridge Quill's channel. We are starting up a new one towards the end of the month. New session, new setting, new system, new characters. So should be fun. I'd love a gay heart. Well, bless your gay heart then. I saw a woodpecker yesterday. Have you ever seen a woodpecker? Oh yeah, they're around. Guess that also means it's been 8 years since my old dog died. I remember being amazed our new puppy was born on the same day when I was looking at his paperwork. Aw. The dog over at my kiddo's mother's house, Maggie, she is probably 16. I say probably because she was a rescue and they weren't 100% certain on how old she was when she got adopted. But Maggie, old lady, still kicking around somehow, has had multiple scares, multiple times being brought to the vet where it was sort of like, oh, this might be it, and then it turned out to be something real minor and fixable. and she's still 16. Dang. Mutts, man. Mutts last forever. I'm 4 stories in with Big Finish's 13 and Yaz series. It's nothing too spectacular, but I'm loving getting to spend more time with them. like, I will continue to attest that even though I did ultimately like Dan as a character, that he shouldn't have been introduced. Well, back up. Either they shouldn't have introduced Dan, or they should have had Graham and Ryan leave at the start of series 12, because there just should have been a stretch of time of just Yaz and the Doctor. And that's not even for shipping reasons. It's just because their dynamic in general, shipping or not, had the most potential for development, and I really wanted to see that happen, and it just never did. Started reading 20th Century Ghost Stories today. Something about 20th Century Ghost Stories just has a little... I mean, it's because I was born in the 20th century, so it's like that's too recent to be a ghost. Like, ghost stories to me feel like they should be older than that, but that's a personal bias. Woodpeckers can be jerks when they peck at your gutters. Woodpeckers don't give a dang. That's just the way it is. It's nice, but also not nice to be able to make a stream. I'm at the ER with my kid, immunodisease issues. Oh, Beckers, I am very sorry that is the reason that you are around and looking for something to help you kill time. I hope that everything is okay and gets resolved quickly and smoothly. I know it's scary. Just anything health related with your kid is always scary. I was thinking about what you said about mythology and fantasy settings. In the Discworld, the power of belief is literal, so their myths and legends become real. Yeah, that is true. For people who don't know what that's referencing, I had like a rambly thought a little while ago, which was just that I feel like most fantasy settings don't have an answer to, okay, but what is fantasy to them? Like, they already exist in a land of fairies and dragons, but what are their fairy tales? What are their bedtime stories? What are their, myths that aren't true? Like, what I want to see writers like get more outlandish with it. Like, okay, if this outlandish thing is their normal, how bizarre are their fantasy concepts? That's what I'd like to see somebody do, because unfortunately, if myths and legends and fairy tales ever come up in a fantasy setting, then it's actually lore, and it's an indication of something that's actually going to, happen or come true or did happen or whatever. Hey, Trista, good to see you. The god of hangovers. Yes, you who you worship at the porcelain throne. Oh, that's sticky. Got to show Amadeus to someone who hadn't seen it before. This time around, as much as I like the two lead performances, I found myself wishing that Tim Curry had done it. Who was Tim Curry supposed to be in that, Rowan? I'd assume their fantasy concepts is our reality. I mean, like, that'd be one way to do it. Like, telling stories of brave quests of going forth to give the big presentation to the sales team. On the Discworld, there's two versions of dragons. One is just a lizard species with vestigial wings. The other is classic fantasy dragon created by how people imagine real dragons. Yeah, I remember that from Guards. Friday the 13th was only bad luck if you're a Templar. He played Mozart in the original Broadway production opposite Ian McKellen as Salieri. Oh, dang. Oh, that would have been amazing to see. Wow. Oh, every now and then I find out about the original Broadway cast of something and I'm like, seriously? It's like, damn. Man. I think I was the age to watch Annie and E.T. at the time. I've only read the first Discworld. I've read a handful of them. I'd like to get back to them. The problem is I have way too much commission stuff to try eventually one day maybe to catch up on. Someday I'll read a book for fun again. I wonder if there's some bootleg of the play, even if it's only an audio recording. I doubt it. Like, in the 80s, bootlegging of plays was not impossible, but it was a hell of a lot harder. Because, you know, the cameras were this big. And a dictaphone might only be this big, but that's not going to pick anything up unless you're in the front row. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it. Oh, that's still really hot. Dharma, thank you for re-upping your membership. I appreciate that greatly. Very happy to have you here. Are there people who speak French in Vermont? It's not super... Well, the closer you are to the Canadian border, the more likely you are to come across that, because the part of Canada that Vermont borders is Quebec, so, you know, French-Canadian. So, like... Yes, but unless you're right on the border in a couple of spots, it's unlikely that you just hear people speaking it. You'll run into people who can, for sure. But like, just like wandering around and hearing people using it casually with each other, not so much. Currently reading the first few Nancy Drew books. Oh, the ones that went into public domain? Those ones? Trying to get back into reading to stay away from the news. I've been doing slightly better. I haven't been fully avoiding the news, but I have been getting better about not diving into the news. So I feel like I'm doing a little bit better with that. There's a bootleg from the 80s of the Doctor Who stage play on video. Yes, I do wonder how they got a camcorder in unseen. There is no official recording. Yeah, I know about that. Like, again, old web shooter. It's not that it's impossible for there to be a bootleg of something from the 80s. It's just way harder. I'll be lurking mostly since I'm in charge of dinner tonight, but thought I'd drop in and see what condition my condition is in. Well, thank you for dropping in, Dharma. I've seen people claiming the final season of Stranger Things used AI effects. I think it might just be people wanting a moral reason to hate the final season. I feel like we're at a point where trying to spot AI effects is muddy enough in general, and or the conversation around what is or is not something that should be called an AI effect has gotten so muddy that is an accusation that gets thrown around a little too liberally. And I say that as someone who says whenever we know there is an AI effect, yeah, absolutely scream about it and make a big freaking deal. I am that person. But at the same time, like, it's become, I mean, that and accusing people of using ChatGPT have become very overdone. Like, I know one thing with Stranger Things was like, I'm trying to remember the specifics. There was like a behind the scenes bit of footage, and like at some point you saw somebody's computer screen and there was a tab with ChatGPT on it. So some people who don't like the finale are trying to claim that they used ChatGPT to write the final season or the final episode or whatever, which is ridiculous. Like, look, I had plenty of problems with season 5, but it does not strike me as AI written. Look, if it ever comes out that it is, to hell with all of them. But, like, be careful. Crying out loud. Rocky Horror got revived in the 90s. Tim McInnery, Percy from Blackadder, was Frankenfurter. When he left the show, he was replaced by Anthony Head. I did know Anthony Head had played the part. That I knew. Dang, that's still hot. I'd love to visit Vermont. The most north I've been is Pennsylvania, Gettysburg. I love Vermont. I love it here. Just know what you're getting into, like, because you'll have the vision of like the foliage or whatever. Peak foliage is, if you're lucky, 2 weeks, and it's never at the same time. So trying to catch peak foliage, it's a dice roll. Let's see. What do you think about Blake 7 being rebooted? Neat in theory. I will have more thoughts if and when it gets further along, because like I don't want to be a downer on things, but I have a tendency to not have too many thoughts on something that is like, we're making this, but they can't name like a director, a star, or a date that they're going to start shooting. Now, obviously, Blake 7 is still very early in its development, so like I'm not trying to be like it's not going to happen. I just have learned at this point to reserve bothering to have an opinion at all until I'm certain it's a thing that does or will exist. It's the same reason I had very loosely formed thoughts at best about, say, the supposed either reboot or continuation of Babylon 5, because and ultimately never got anywhere. So, have you seen any of the 28 Years Later films yet? Nope. It's not high on my priority list. I can't stand anyone who says AI is here to stay, so stop complaining. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, they have to present it that way because they need mass adoption. And they need us to shut up about the fact that they're sticking it in everything. That's the only way this has any vague hint of being anything, as opposed to just the massively destructive nothing it currently is. One reason for AI videos and such, so that you start to question other real things, food for thought. I mean, I would push back on the idea that that is one of the purposes for its existence. That is absolutely one of the outcome of its existence, and the people who created it decided either that's okay or they don't care about the harm that does. I push back, not necessarily because I think it's not possible, but I push back on the idea that like it is designed to erode trust. It does, absolutely, 100%. I push back on the idea that it's designed to do that, because that's where you start imagining the people making this as like mustache twirling cartoon villains deliberately trying to undermine, trust in reality. And again, I'm not trying to defend any of these people, but I think by and large they're just greedy and don't care about the damage, rather than the damage is the point in a lot of cases. As long as it isn't maple flavored syrup made mostly with high fructose corn syrup. Oh God, you try and serve that stuff in Vermont, you will be run out of town very, very quickly. Like, especially because like tree tapping, like I don't know what it's like in Canada, but tree tapping in Vermont is it's a family business. Like, there are some of the larger places, but most of the maple stuff around here is still either sourced or is just done by like local family sappers. So like there's a lot of pride in the syrup around here, not just because it comes from here. Do you think a Christmas version of Rocky Horror would work? The Rocky Horror Christmas show. I've been making an elf with blonde hair, pale and no tan. I mean, you could. I, for one, would be over the joke well before the show was over, but that's me. I am a mild Grinch. I have been reliably informed by numerous people. Regardless of whether it's true or not, I think the reason hold on. Oh, Regardless of whether it's true or not, I think the reason the AI thing um, is landed is because it gives you a moral justification to be angry at the show besides just aesthetics. I mean, to some extent, yes. The thing is, I think most people who do that don't do that consciously. Like, you're not wrong. It is a pretty common phenomenon where people who like already don't like a thing, if they can find something more objectively wrong with it, you know, it's that vindication that yeah, I already didn't like it, and it's bad by some objective measure. Like people absolutely do that, but I think a lot of people who do that don't think about why they do that. Speaking of no one said it, Rocky Horror is being revived on Broadway this year. All we know about it is that Frank is being played by Luke Evans. Oh, that's a solid choice. That works. Just listening to episode 6 of Frack This, really enjoying it. I also wanted to say I love that you end your videos by saying everyone is loved. We really need that right now. Well, you're welcome, Neil. I do what I can. Have fun with that podcast. It's been a journey. We got another season and a half to go. What are we talking about today? Whatever comes up. I think the Blake 7 reboot has a showrunner. Well, that's a start, at least. Have you ever read the Railway series? Nope. Don't know what it is. I think the word reboot has been used so much it's lost meaning. I mean, yeah, but sometimes it's still the correct word, so what do you do? I really want to attend the panel you're on, but I also want to see the TV movie 30th anniversary interview at the same time, too. Life's full of tough choices, isn't it? Yep. Pajama shirt. It's been a be lazy at home and edit kind of day. Would you want to see a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids remade with like Avatar type CGI? No. I mean, like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't make it. Like, I wouldn't be offended by its existence the way that I am artistically offended by the existence of the live action Disney remake. So, like, I don't have a problem with that existing. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't watch it. But I wouldn't watch a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids remake regardless of how they made it. I love a chocolate liqueur and hot chocolate, but I'm trying to lose weight now. So, it's just a number. But not to downplay it if this is something you're taking seriously or you know that matters to you or whatever. Like I don't mean to do that. I'm you know I'm somebody who doesn't own a scale. Planning on a trip to the nearest big city sometime in the summer. And it's a happy synchronicity that a ramen shop that offers gluten-free options and an ice cream shop are close together. Ooh, lovely. David Mazouz has said he would like to play Damian Wayne in James Gunn's DCU. What's your opinion? Wait, how old is he at this point? Yeah, he's 24. I don't. Hold on, let me check one other thing. I would like. Here's the thing. With a lot of the Robins, you can kind of fudge the age. Like you can fudge, especially if you're not doing like their initial origin with, you know, becoming Robin in the first place. Especially if you're not doing that story, you can fudge the age of Dick. You can fudge the age of Jason. Boy, they fudge the hell out of the age of Jason. Have been for a while. You can fudge the age out of Tim even. Damian needs to be clearly a teenager, or he honestly doesn't work. I honestly don't think Damien works much at all, but to the extent that he does, he needs to be an actual teenager. And like, yes, I know, young looking 20 something Tom Holland, all that stuff. Like, yes, I understand that. But like, you either need a teenager or you need a 20-year-old who's like 5'4". Yeah. Like, could he play the part as an actor? Probably, but I don't think it hit right. One of my favorite That's the Same Actor examples is Sherry Stoner being both live action performance reference for Ariel in The Little Mermaid and Slappy Squirrel's voice. I don't think you are correct about that. Oh, no, you're right. That is her. I thought that was somebody else was her. No, you're right. Good call. Huh, for some reason, I could have sworn it was somebody else was the voice of Slappy. Don't know why I thought that. Anyways. Let's see. Where are we? Which panels and interviews are you most looking forward to at Galley? I will decide that on Thursday. Don't ask me to plan that far ahead. Good grief. Hey, Vera, was thinking about the Doctor Who episode Bad Wolf and how you said it doesn't work because of how the TV show they use aged the episodes. But given how a lot of modern media is remakes and sequels, wouldn't it make sense that a corporation would go back to a show they know will work? Well, like, the odd thing, Lewis, is it plays mildly better now than it did then, at least in my opinion. Because like at this point, I could buy that like Big Brother number 7,308 or whatever. I could kind of believe that. That said, I still find it uninteresting. My problem wasn't just that it dated it. It was also that I just don't find those kind of parodies entertaining. The things that specific most of the time. I feel it's better to be broader and make something more tailored to the setting than to just directly lift a thing that we already have. Rewatching DS9 before possibly quitting Paramount Plus. Oh, you're Jennifer. You sound like me when I was getting ready to cut the cord on HBO Max. I'm like, I need to try and watch a few things before I pull the plug. Black Cauldron deserves a remake. That's one of the few that I'd be okay. I'd still prefer animated, but that's one of the few I'd be okay with because I mean, like, that's what remakes should be. Remakes shouldn't be great movies that you make again. Remakes should be movies that had potential but didn't meet them. Take another crack at it, but they don't do that because the money is in stuff that was already successful. Like, I know why it is the way that it is, but from artistic perspective, remakes are handled completely backwards. I will not be commenting on that old web shooter. I'm not comfortable commenting on that. You know, Starfleet Academy probably won't utilize this because of filming costs, but something I always thought would be cool about having an Earth-based Trek show is because the transporter characters can basically visit any real-world location whenever they want. I mean, I guess I think that'd be really hard. Even aside from budgetary restrictions on why that would be difficult to take advantage of, just the how gimmicky things could end up being real quick. Love Your Little Mermaid sure is an original when the movie first came out. I honestly don't know. It might be. This was a gift from one of my former partners. So I don't know how old it is, but it could be. Thank you very much, Dharma. I appreciate that. I am going to have to pop on over to the Discord and check the questions that are over there. So bear with me for a few minutes, and I will be back shortly. Is David Mazouz old enough to portray Batman? Depends on the kind of Batman you're doing. I mean, like a Batman Year One, maybe? That's a stretch. But anyways, I will be back presently. All right, let me see. Have you heard about the new Sonic the Hedgehog audio drama coming out this month? Because that's the thing that's happening. Nope. That's news to me. What? That's a very strange thing to have be an audio drama. Because like in my mind, the stuff that makes sense to do as audio dramas are things where the most important thing is the writing. And I don't think you can argue that's ever been the case about Sonic the Hedgehog. What? Supposing for the sake of argument the Democrats were in power. Okay. Sorry, gotta steel myself for a political question. All right. Suppose for the sake of argument the Democrats were in power and there was actually the political will for it. What would you want to have happen in terms of AI regulation? I don't think the AI bros are right when they say it's inevitable, going to be integrated into everything. But I doubt we're ever going to get rid of it entirely now. Okay, this question is too big to tackle, but here's the short version. I am not a legislator. I don't know the best way to write regulations or laws. That having been said, I think the main things to deal with are just corporate overreach and companies being far too large and owning too much. Like, priority one for me, like, when I come to power, priority one is reinforcing regulations, actually backing up the regulations we have, breaking some of these companies up, getting the money out of politics. And honestly, if you do a lot of that, a lot of the AI stuff will almost take care of itself at that point. But in terms of specific regulations, I don't know. Like, I don't know in general. Like, the overall goal should be one of two things. Well, first of all, AI shouldn't exist because of the damage it currently does. If AI did no damage to the environment, it does, never forget. But if it didn't, then one of two things should be happening. Either we are integrating AI at the same time that we are building a society in which it is not a requirement that you hold down a job in order to be able to have a home and feed yourself, i.e. live. Because if that's the society we live in, AI should not be permitted in any way whatsoever because it takes away work from people who are required to work to be able to live. One of those two things has to give. And that's, as I said, that is taking for granted and not dealing with a ton of stuff that I will not take for granted and will not set aside. Anyways, how do you feel about sci-fi fantasy stories that use some magically changing sex as a vehicle to do a trans analog? The other day I was reading a manga that was doing that almost explicitly. Struck me as slightly problematic because in real life trans people transition because they want to, whereas in a story the main character changes spontaneously then grows to like it. Like it, admittedly, I'm from the outside looking in, but the choice of transition seems very core to the trans experience. Like, I would honestly argue that a lot of those characters, like the one that's coming to mind is Ranma 1/2, which I like for the record. But I think I would not call those characters trans characters for that exact reason. They aren't going through a journey of self-discovery and understanding. They are coming to terms with a thing that just happened to them. Now, like, is it something trans characters can relate to? Is it gender fuckery? Yeah, absolutely. And that can be fun. But I'm not sure many shows and or mangas and or whatever's actually treat it as a direct analog for transness. It just happens to overlap with the more magical thing that they're doing. I personally wouldn't view too much of that through the lens of trans representation unless I either knew the creators were claiming that it was or I got the whiff of after school special, like, let's learn about transness on it. Unless I got that, I'd probably just assume they were just having a silly goof with it, if that makes sense. Okay. This is a slightly awkward question because it relates to the video that goes public on Saturday, but it's up for patrons and YouTube members. Does the thing you said about thematically definitive endings mean you don't like prequels? Like, how would you feel about a movie or TV show that focus on some adventure Tony Stark went on as a 14-year-old? As a general rule, I don't like prequels. And, like, that is a reason. It's not the reason. The main reason I don't like prequels is they have predetermined endpoints. Generally, the only prequels that I am liable to find interesting are setting prequels, not character prequels. But even those miss more than they hit. Prequels in general, and I'm not going to say there are no good prequels, but prequels by and large are just not something that I find interesting or have ever been drawn to. In your TV shows need filler video, what type of filler are you okay with and which type of filler are you not okay with? Well, for lack of a cleaner way to put it, the best filler doesn't feel like filler. So, like, the best filler doesn't move the story forward, but does something else. When filler is literally just a wheel spinning exercise and, like, you can just smell the whiff of they were short an episode and this was all they came up with, then, like, that's bad filler. But, and I know I'm assessing something as, like, basically vibes, but sometimes it's vibes. Not everything has hard rules. Sometimes you either feel it or you don't. Evening, Vera. Have you watched the start of Star Trek Starfleet Academy? If so, how do you find it? I don't find it. I haven't started it. I have not taken in new stuff in a while. Because I've got Gallifrey 1 coming up, I am desperately trying to get far enough ahead to account for the fact that I will not be working for 6 days. And, that's almost a solid week of me just not getting work done. So I am head down, desperately trying to get far enough ahead where doing that doesn't completely wreck me. So, no, I haven't seen it. And I'm also like 4 episodes behind on Fallout, which I had hoped to watch as it aired. That hasn't happened. So, yep, I don't find it anything at present. There we go. I only have one question. How often do you think that movies filmed at the same time and released separately should actually instead be evaluated as one story instead of 2? Examples: Matrix 2 and 3, Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. My general rule of thumb is if you present it to me as individual pieces, I'm going to judge it as individual pieces. Now, will I also assess it as a whole? Yes, but it is not invalid to assess each part by itself, and it's not like analysis should only be done of the entire thing. I think maybe the one exception I'd make to that would be like 2-parter stories in TV shows, and that's only because, like, they had no choice but to do 2-parters because anything longer than like 40 minutes has to be. Whereas, with the movies, the fact that they shot everything the same time but released it in parts, like, that's a choice of presentation. And you could tell me, like, well, they had to. It's the only way to spread it across that way. Okay, but if you're still, especially with movies, like, let's stick with movies, especially with movies, if you're asking me to pay a ticket price for each installment better be worth talking about in and of itself. And I will continue to assess them in and of themselves because you presented them to me in and of themselves. Given the reek of desperation on Avengers Doomsday, i.e. bringing back Rogers and Robert Downey Jr. for Dr. Doom, is it possible that a big driver of this is because they had to pivot from having Kang in as the big bad, having Dr. Doom having Dr. Doom as the big bad? A big driver? No. Is it in the mix? Yes. No, the big driver is dwindling interest in the MCU. That's the big driver. Like, is that a factor as well? Sure. Is it a major one? No. Like if interest in the MCU had never waned and people were just as excited for each new MCU movie and or TV show as they were 5 years ago, then there wouldn't be this massive scramble even if they had to replace Kang. That's what I'm going with. Thought exercise. You've been contracted to write a Star Wars Extended Universe short story as part of a collection of short stories. The catch is that the theme of the collection is Force users that aren't Jedi, tentatively titled The Will of the Living Force. What kind of story, if any, would you write? That's not a thought exercise. That's a writing assignment. Pay me. And finally, cake or death? Death, please. Cake. I meant cake. There we go. Did I miss any super chats? I did not. Let's see. I just rewatched the NCIS Season 5 finale, which was a two-parter, but it was both put together, making it an 86-minute episode instead of two 43-minute episodes. Wish TV still did that. I mean, it's funny. What'll happen sometimes is a two-parter, like it'll exist as a two-parter, but it'll air either on its first airing as an entire piece, but then in reruns get broken up as a two-parter, or sometimes the other way around, which is weird. Do you like the band Hot Chocolate, and what's your favorite song? I didn't know there was a band called Hot Chocolate. Me and my friend have got to the end of season 2 in our Gotham watch. I'm enjoying keeping Sturm on the fact that Jerome comes back. Gotham's a lot of fun. If I had free time, I'd love to rewatch Gotham. Second season, I think, is my favorite. It definitely is my favorite individual episode, which I will still point to, which is this ball of mud and meanness. It's so good. Coyote Azul, thank you very much. Super Chat's quiet tonight, isn't it? It is. Like, I know it's things are tight for everybody. Trust me. I know. I know more than I'd care for. Evening Vera. Hey Vacuum, good to see you. In my town where they filmed Maria Hill's death in Secret Invasion, there's a place where you can buy a boozy hot chocolate, and the best flavor is definitely Di Serono. Di Serono's not really my thing. Like, it's okay. I don't really care for it though. I gotta be honest. I have a plan to prepare for Wicked, watch The Wizard of Oz, then a bootleg of the stage musical, and then the 2 film adaptations. Probably a Cliff Notes on the Wicked novel too, but hope other panelists pick up the slack there. I have fun with that one. I did see that there was the Wizard of Oz panel at Galley. Jennifer! Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Real Xeon. Thank you for becoming a supporter. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you folks, but yeah, times are tough, and I know. Been listening for a minute, forgot to say hi until now. Oh, well, welcome then. Heating bills suck. All bills suck, but yeah, heating bills, depending on where you are, particularly can suck. Despite the fact it's from one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who, one of my best Minecraft builds is the ship from 42. Episode might not be the best, but the ship design is ace. That's actually really cool. Like, yeah, honestly, again, I don't have the free time, so don't ask me to do it unless you pay me. But I would, like, in theory, I would love a chance to rewrite the script of 42. Because I think 42 could be incredible. It's not, but I feel like it was like 2 revisions away from being something real special. That manga was very explicitly using the standard manga trope of to talk about trans stuff, like the author thinks this is really clever way, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that would probably annoy me then. 255. Coyote Azul, thank you very much for the additional super chat. You are being very generous this evening. I appreciate you. GF and I are starting to buy more physical media than streaming / download due to some of the stuff we like to watch being removed or incomplete. I'm still trying to do that. There is stuff that I've been trying to keep an eye out for years, hoping it would get a physical release. Nimona! Actually, you know what? While we're here, I'm going to check that again. I check like every month or so. Just release a physical copy of the fucking movie. It was Oscar nominated. God damn it, man. Lori Petty was awesome in that. Well, Lori Petty's awesome in most things, but yes, she was especially great in that episode. This guy, when she's being interrogated by Gordon, like he leans in, he's like, "Do you want me to hurt you?" And she's just there like, "Could you? I got nowhere else to be." Oh, it's so good. Oh, that episode's amazing. And like, the thing is, most of that show is, to be honest, ridiculous. Like, I classify most of Gotham as my trash. It is garbage and I love it. That episode is legit good. Like, is it a little trashy? Yeah, just because it's Gotham. But that episode is so good. And I think anyone who's like, what's the value in examining Bruce Wayne before he's Batman? I'm going to point to that episode and go, that. Because admittedly, most of the value in Gotham is campy, dark fun. And if that's not your jam, I get it. That's fine. But like, I point to that episode and go, you want an exploration of what this character's going through before putting on the cowl? That right there. Second episode of Gotham, episode called This Ball of Mud and Meanness. It's actually kind of standalone. You can watch it on its own. I actually think Gotham gave Paul Rubens one of his best performances. He was good. He was good when he showed up. And it was a fun role they cast him in too. You know, from a meta level. Supreme Omega! Good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. Phantom of the Paradise. That's a fun movie. I wonder the reason why it was not a big cult hit like Rocky Horror is because it's more darker and cynical. It's totally a De Palma film. It is a De Palma film. Like, they're cut from a very similar energy, for sure. And it's there's plenty to compare the two. If I were to guess, I feel like Phantom of the Paradise takes itself just a touch more seriously and is presented just a touch more seriously. Because, like, the thing with Rocky Horror is what made it blow up was the ability of audiences to yell at the screen and be ridiculous at it. And there's a lot of specific things about it. Like, it's not just the tone and the mood and the characters. There's also just a lot of unnecessary pauses that are the perfect place for the audience to shout something at the screen. Rocky Horror, like, the fact that it wasn't designed to do that is kind of stunning in hindsight. 42 is overhated by a lot of fans, but it definitely didn't need a monster. I mean, that's the main thing, Mr. Zaki Boy, is that, like, the note 1 for 42, remove the monster. Like, that's the first note, underlined in red 3 times. Never saw Phantom, but I do like Paul Williams, the hell of it. That's a great song. Paul Williams is great in that movie. He's really good. And I'd seen him act before, because he's one of the few good things about the fifth Planet of the Apes movie. What is that one? Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Ugh. Not a good movie. Boring, actually, which is something that I don't think you can say about any of the other original Planet of the Apes movies. Whatever you think of them, they're not boring, except for Battle. Battle is boring. Conquest is great, though. I gotta rewatch that one. The one physical medium my girlfriend and I both got is Mike Judge's Tales from the Tour Bus. Awesome, hilarious at the same time. Nice! The Wicked panel you mentioned is the panel I am on. That's my homework before Galley. I figured it was, Harriet. Yeah, I'm actually moderating the panel that I'm on, so I have more prep work to do than I've had to do on panels before. That'll be interesting. Do you think the real town Gotham was named after in the UK is actually pronounced Gotham? I'm not sure that the DC Gotham was named after that, because Gotham is also a nickname for New York, so it's a long-running observation that if you want to know what Gotham City's like, if you want to know what Metropolis is like, Metropolis is New York City from Times Square up through the Upper East Side. And Gotham City is, I'm trying to remember, is like below 13th Street in February. That's Gotham. But no, I like, as far as pronunciations, I didn't know that's how you pronounce that town in the UK. I don't think Gotham City is actually named after that, but that is cool regardless. Have you seen the mystery drama Desperate Housewives, out of curiosity? Nope, but I remember when it was a big deal. It is an underrated show, in my opinion. If for me, I'm sure you'd have some opinions. Oh, I'm sure I would. Oh, geez. Awesome gamer. Almost forgot to give you a little gay heart of appreciation there. The thing is, I don't think you could have called it underrated when it aired. It was huge when it aired. I remember how big a deal it was. But it has not held on to, it has not had a lasting impact. It's not something people still talk about. So it may have become underrated over time. But when it aired, I remember that thing was massive. My wheels. My God, I can't move my wheels. Thank you for that, Haga. Do you think you could just set up environmental regulations in such a way it'd be basically impossible to build AI data centers and have them be profitable? Yeah, probably. You know, if you... Like, there's a reason why I have adopted the phrase, I don't care, in a political context, because so many of the arguments for, like, fresh water is not getting to people who need it to live. Oh, but these companies, if we don't let them have first crack at the fresh water, they'll go out of business. I don't care. I think with proper regulations for the environment, people will go, oh, but that would mean all the AI data centers have to shut down. I don't care. I don't. Like, at this point, especially, the right are happy to say they don't care. They don't care about voting rights. They don't care about bodily autonomy. They don't care about queer rights. They don't care. If they get to say they don't care, so do I. I don't care about corporate profits. I don't care about prioritizing shareholder value. I don't care. And that's me on a good day. On a mean day, I want to burn it down. So, yeah. Ooh, Aaron! Oh my goodness. Thank you. That is a very generous amount. All sorts of super chats now. First super chat as a retired person. Congratulations! Happy retirement. But yes, thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who donated. Yeah, I appreciate it. Things are... Yeah, it's like the short version is like I'm not in trouble, which is why it's really hard for me to say that like I need more financial help than I'm getting, cuz like in the strictest sense my brain is screaming at me right now saying, "No you don't. Your bills are current. You're not paying anything late. And you're not in danger of losing anything. So no, shut up and suck it up." Um I'm basically overriding that as I speak right now because like I I am okay, but I'm precariously okay. I'm precariously okay because, you know, my car still works great, but if and when my car gets to the point of dying, I'm going to be in trouble. If I ever have a medical event, I'm going to be in trouble. Um, I can't afford any large unexpected or even medium unexpected thing. I keep having to get payment plans for my tax bills every year. I can't afford to pay my income tax bill in one chunk. And yes, I know about like paying in advance incrementally. I keep trying to do that, but like I'm not in a, I still have to be able to afford to do that, and I can't. Um, so you know, I'm just in a situation like I can't even look at the camera doing this. It's that's how hard it is. Like you get used to shilling yourself to a certain degree, and which I don't like doing. I've never liked doing, and I don't like self promotion. I don't like to feel like I'm begging. I don't like to feel like I'm trying to milk sympathy from people. I don't feel good doing that. In my ideal world, I put out the work and the work speaks for itself. People like the work enough and they support me enough. And that is more or less true, but like I'm starting to worry about burnout, which is not something I've had to worry about before. And I'm not there, but like I am in a position where like it would be really good for me if I could start outsourcing my editing, at least some of it, but I can't because I can't afford it. So, yeah. I'm sorry that this has become the tail end topic of this stream. I made the decision that I was going to force myself to be honest. And I don't know how I feel about that now that I've done it. I don't know how I feel about that at all. Mm. Oh my goodness. Okay. Uh, Lewis, thank you very much for the super chat. Right, got to go get some sleep, but I wanted to say thank you for being one of the most sane voices to listen to when it comes to reviews. Boy, that's a strange thing to be called. I'm gonna hold on to a thought and come back to it. Elizabeth, thank you. That is immensely generous of you, and I really, really appreciate it. And also, um, Anselin, you as well. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. You liked Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. I was about to say it was the weakest. The apes exist because of a plague that finishes the cats and the dogs. Look, I'm not saying that the setup and the backstory aren't silly. They are. But then again, so is Escape, and that one's pretty good too. But Conquest, like watching Conquest is more of a blueprint for Rise of the Planet of the Apes than the original Planet of the Apes was. Like they knew what to pull from and they were smart to do it. uh, my Gotham season 2 nitpick. I don't like Mr. Freeze's hair. Fair. I remember that being a little silly. Yeah, Desperate Housewives was huge at the time, but its memory's been tainted. There was a great video essay done about how a big reason for that was because it's women centric and focused media. Yeah, yeah. that often happens. I was never into Batman until I saw Gotham. Then I became a Batmanaholic. Don't know if it's the wisest or popular introduction for people for that property, but it was for me. It's an odd one to come in on, but good on you. Coyote Azul, thank you very much. My GF, who is also trans, has similar conversations about precariousness with me. Yeah, and that's not even getting into the, like, how safe am I to live in this damn country? Ah! Didn't you make a video about how creators need to say they're in trouble before they feel backed into doing something drastic or something to that effect? Sort of. It was less a plea saying that they needed to, rather than a video about how it's very difficult to do that, and a lot of us are bad at it, and that includes me. And I think he even pointed out in that video that I am bad at that. So, yeah. On YouTube, you get so many people who blindly hate stuff for being woke. The same for blindly loving it. Finding an objective opinion is the best. Oh, my opinions are by no means objective. I do try and have them be decently explained, though. Like, that is my goal as a reviewer. It's not to convince you to agree with me. It's not to prove that I'm somehow objectively right. It's for you to understand why I think what I think and feel what I feel, even if you don't agree. And that's been the way I've approached it for a while. Is Batman propaganda? Depends on the iteration and the story. The answer to that one, black cover, is sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Also, same with the added thing that my GF is disabled and can't work. That complicates things too. Yeah. Yep. Batman is specifically very much not a cop, and the cops are often corrupted. Yeah, Trista, but the thing is, that's usually a background detail to explain why he only works with Gordon, and then effectively in most Batman stories, Gordon is the only cop you see, and he is the good one, and Batman works very closely with him. That's kind of what I mean when I say it depends on the version of Batman. So, like, Adam West Batman, much as I love him, you could argue is propaganda because he basically works hand in hand with the police force. He's more or less an unofficial cop in that show. And how much Batman is or isn't working with the police department varies from story to story, from writer to writer, from era to era. So, have you watched Heated Rivalry? I have not. I got rid of HBO Max. So, I haven't seen it. I have a feeling people are going to keep nudging me on that. Kevin Conroy will always be my favorite Batman. Mark Hamill will always be my favorite Joker. I like Mark Hamill's Joker a lot. I honestly think Jerome might be my favorite Joker. I think he's my favorite live action at the very least. Yeah. Maybe I'm biased because I tend towards darker Batman stories. Yeah, like some of the darker, grittier, I am the night, and I stalk the shadows for the scum of the streets. That version of Batman is less likely to be working with the cops. So that's what I mean. It depends on the writer, the era, the energy. You know, it varies. I was thinking more modern Batman the Animated Series or later Batman. Again, it varies. That's exactly why I love your reviews. Objective may have been the wrong word. I've never seen you make a review that felt like you were phoning in your opinion to please the crowd. Oh, like that is especially true of stuff that I get to early. Like this. Why did I get rid of HBO? Because I barely watched anything on it, and like honestly, the main reason I was keeping HBO was because they had the revival era of Doctor. We've gone over time. I need to wrap it up. Jerome is Joker. Jason, he's the Joker. Like, no, Black. He's the Joker. Anyways, I've gone over time. I need to wrap it up. But, anyways, what was I saying? Oh crap. Oh, why'd you get rid of HBO? So the main reason I was even holding on to it, because there were not many things that I was watching on it, was because it had the Doctor Who revival era from 2005 through 2022. And it was easier for me to pull clips that way. It's easier for me to fire up a streaming service, pull up the episode, and pull a clip that way than it is for me to dig out my Blu-ray collection, get the disc, find the disc, stick it in the computer, mess with the stuff on here that allows me to get stuff off of a Blu-ray. Like, it's just a bigger pain in the ass. Like, in an ideal world, I'd have enough storage to just have the episodes stored in full, like on a drive. I don't have that kind of storage, though, so I don't have that. But it was just easier for me to pull it from streaming. So once HBO Max no longer had that era of Doctor Who, it just wasn't worth the cost to me anymore. Like, I don't care about Game of Thrones anymore. Like, I know I'm hearing initially good things about Night of the Seven Kingdoms or whatever it is, but I realized I don't care about House of the Dragon. Like, I enjoy Harley Quinn, but I fell off it for a few seasons and didn't care enough to binge to catch back up. So it's like, Like, I'm not saying I'll never get it again. I might at some point, probably for only the run of a specific thing, but like, yeah, no, it was an expense I didn't need anymore. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Sorry, maybe one more. Any thoughts of why a lot of queer stories that get popular are an athletic/sports setting? I'm not sure how true that is. I know it's happened like a few times because like there was Yuri on Ice as well. I'm not sure how big a population of mainstream queer representation sports related stuff is. Like, I'd need to see the data on that because I feel like it might be a what's the prisoner of the moment kind of observation where it feels like that because all the focus is on heat of rivalry. Anyway. Thank you very much for joining me, folks. I appreciate you. If you're going to be at Gallifrey 1, say hi. I will be there. I will be masked. Although I'm not unwilling to hold my breath, take it off for 5 seconds for a selfie. But I will be there. I will be cosplaying most days. And yeah, if you're there and you see me, say hi. Anyways, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you all take care of yourselves. This year is not shaping up to be any better than last. So, and last year was a son of a bitch. So, take care of yourselves. It's important. You matter. So, be careful out there. Be well. Be safe. Be kind. Please remember that you are beautiful. You are valid. And you are loved. You are the council, and I am just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!